How's everybody doing today? Welcome to 1,000 Mile Coffee. You're riding with Jason
and David.
We got a trucker buddy of ours on the line with us, Mr. Matt Daniels. How you doing, Matt?
Good. How y'all doing this morning?
We're awake.
I'm here.
The reason we brought Matt on here today, we wanted to give a talk about dietary issues out on the road. You know, I'm on a diet myself because, as y'all can see, I'm quite fluffy. David's.
That's my nickname.
I know we call you Fluffy too, but you know I'm a little more fluffy than you are. But
yeah, a little bit.
But anyway, we're you know, I'm watching what I eat, and you know, you have a special diet, Matt, because you're diabetic.
I do. I'm type 2 diabetic, so I'm not as bad as a type 1 diabetic. But I do still have to watch carb intake. I have to watch protein intake, that kind of thing. I also have to watch sodium because being a diabetic, it messes with everything. Sodium will actually dehydrate you quicker if you're a diabetic than it would if you're non-diabetic. So,
really?
Yeah, I've got to watch everything. Yep, I've got to watch everything.
Okay, well, how do you? All right, we all know, you know, truck stops aren't necessarily the offer the healthiest food.
Options.
Yeah, there you go. You know,
No.
fast food and everything's cooked in grease, fried.
Right.
How do you manage that on the road?
I always get my groceries before I leave the house. Lucky for me, I've got a great support system at the house. The wife, she's always looking for, she knows what I like, so she's always looking for healthier alternatives. The rule of thumb that I was always taught since this hit and all the doctors I saw and everything, they always told me the same thing. There's actually two things that they told me to remember: low carb, high protein. You know, stay with the protein. And they also told me it's a little trick to remember. It says the fewer the feet, the better the meat. So you kind of want to not stay away from, but limit yourself.
Wait
to your
a
meat.
minute. Hold on.
Yeah,
What did you
right.
say?
The fewer the feet, the better the meat. I know it's weird sounding, but follow me on this, okay?
Oh, okay.
You don't have to. You don't have to totally knock it out, but you need to limit yourself on beef and pork. The things you can eat, you know, not in excessive amounts, of course. But I mean, you know, the most meat they want you to do is chicken, turkey, and fish. So having to control that part of do what?
Okay, so that makes me wonder, is rattlesnake still on the menu? Because it has no feet, so...
I'll still eat it. I don't care. I'll still eat it.
What?
If it's got a face, I'll probably...
We're trying to be serious.
And this
here.
also brings in kangaroo. Kangaroo only stands on its back 2 feet.
Ooh, kangaroo's good.
Kangaroo's still good?
Ooh, kangaroo's good.
David, quit being a bubba.
You know, hold on. Yeah, seriously. But I will say this: I've eaten a lot of exotic meats, and several years ago, when I was as an office manager with a giant tire company doing rock quarry work, they took us to. I had to go down to Michelin plant in Greenville, South Carolina, and I do not remember the restaurant name. I really wish I could because I want to go back there. Hell, this was 15, 20 years ago.
You're talking about Saskatoons out there. I know where you're talking about.
I really don't remember the name, but it might be. All they do is nothing but exotic meats. And I had a kangaroo steak smothered in orange sauce, and oh my God, that was, out of everything I've eaten, that was by far the best.
Right.
Okay, sorry.
Squirrel. Yeah, hello, Earl. Anyway,
I said squirrel, not Earl.
Yeah, but I name all the squirrels Earl, so anyway.
There's a story there.
There is, but we'll get into that.
We'll touch that later.
We'll touch that in another part.
Right. But basically what they're saying is you kind of want to shy away from, not shy away from, that's a bad term. You kind of want to limit yourself to red meat, but you want to stay with the white meat, you know, turkey and chicken and fish, because it's better for you. It's better for you. It's lower in iron count, which iron translates into carbs once it's processed into the body.
Okay. Now, how long did it take you to learn all this?
It only took, they put me through, I won't say counseling, but there were actually classes that they put me through that they put us through different scenarios. If you're offered this kind of food, and then this kind of food, which would you choose based on what you can have? And we had to choose best, and if we chose wrong, they told us why, or what we could substitute, or whatever the case may be, based on what was in front of us. As they called it counseling sessions, but it's not really counseling. It's more of educational purposes. This is what's going on with your body. This is what you need to do, and follow this, and you'll have a healthier lifestyle. Now, you guys, we just saw each other a couple weeks ago, but we've only seen each other periodically over the past few years since I was diagnosed with this. And I don't know if you guys remember how big I was way back.
I do.
But, yeah, I'm 6'2", but I was 468 pounds, and that was big, way big for me.
Right.
And now I'm keeping it right around 300. So, still big, but it's a heck of a lot better.
Yeah, but I mean, that means you lost 160 pounds. I mean, that's a
whole person.
Right. That's a big deal.
Now,
Right.
one thing I want to bring up, because you mentioned you had to go through classes, unlike some people who when they were younger were diagnosed with diabetes or anything like that.
Right.
You kind of found out in one of the worst ways possible.
I did. I was pulling open deck, and I had been down to Texas to drop an oversized load down there at a ranch. Got through down there, and they told me, come right back to the Midwest. We've got another load for you that's going to Mississippi, but you need to be here in a day and a half. So here I was coming out of South Texas, booking it, but I was feeling like the total crap. My brain was foggy. I had the body shakes, cold sweats, didn't know what was going on. Honestly, I had one thing on my mind: get back up there, get the load, so I can go out. The moneymaker side came out. Basically, I was focused
The hustler
on one
came
thing.
out of you.
Right, and I made it as far as the rest area on I-35 north of Kansas City, which is pretty good.
I was about to say, that's a good little clip.
That's a good little clip. I had to be there on Friday morning. Well, I got to that rest. I had to be back in Des Moines on Friday morning. I got to this rest area on Thursday morning. Felt like crap. And I called my fleet manager. I said, hey, man, I don't know what's going on, but I'm tired. This is what's going on. He happened to be diabetic, too, and he told me that. He said, you need to watch it. Go ahead and get you some rest. I'm going to put you down for a day. Do what you need to do. Get rested up. Let me know something in the morning. I didn't sleep at all that day. I was going to take the whole day and rest. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't anything. My brain wouldn't stop working, but it was foggy at the same time. My body was shaking, cold sweats, and I could not stop urinating at all. My legs were weak, which means I couldn't hold myself up, and I couldn't make it to the bathroom in the rest area. So, not to be crude or anything, but to be perfectly honest, I filled up every bottle I had in that truck. To the point where I tried to get up that night to try to make it inside so I could at least splash cold water on my face, just do anything I could to try to feel better. I stood up and immediately went down between the seats in the truck, and I laid there for I don't know how long. Finally got the strength to get back in the bed and called the next morning, and the girl I was dating at the time, she called and told her what was going on. She said, you need to call an ambulance right now. And I told her, I said, I got to go to Des Moines. I got to pick up. She said, no. She said, you call an ambulance right now and you get to the hospital. And so I turned around and called my fleet manager, and I told him, I said, I'm suggested that I need an ambulance. And I need to go to the hospital. Something's going on. Here's what's happening. And he went, all right, I'm on it. 10 minutes later, an ambulance showed up, picked me up, took me to the hospital in Kansas City, where they found out my blood sugar was 1100. 600 is borderline diabetic coma. They were surprised that I made it through the night.
Holy shit.
My blood was so thick, it was like molasses. It was just that thick molasses consistency, and the only place they could draw it, because it was so thick, was that big vein that runs along behind your right leg. They drew blood from behind my right knee. That's the only place they could get it from. And they tested it. They kept me in the hospital, put me on all kind of things to flush my entire system of any sugars, any leftover whatever that was in my system, just trying to clear me up. They were just about to do a transfusion when my blood work came back clear. And they came back and said, you're a type 2 diabetic and you're lucky to be alive. So after that, it was kind of a, kick in the butt. Hey, I got to do something different. We've had phone calls here the past few days between us where it was mentioned lifestyle changes have to be made. And I remember thinking that, but I never followed through on it. And that's what happened. And, thank good Lord above here that I'm here to talk about it.
Right,
and,
seriously.
Try to help other people, because there are other people that do come to me, hey, man, I'm feeling this way. It's just like another close friend of ours. Y'all know him too. I'm not going to name any names, but he just found out that he's type 2 diabetic. And he's been asking a lot of questions, trying to work through some things that, he hadn't quite figured out. Nobody's told him the right information, so he comes to me because I've already been through the grunt work.
Right, you went through the classes and all that to have the information.
Right. And plus I went through a pretty bad personal experience to, to be able to educate people. I know what's going on and with me, and if I see those same kind of symptoms or people are acting a certain way, I can tell them, hey, I'm no doctor, I'm no expert, but, this is what happened with me. Maybe you should go to the doctor, get it checked out. Maybe you should talk with somebody and find out what you can do.
Right. I mean, everybody's body is different, but at the end of the day, the symptoms in my mind would still be the same.
They would. They would.
Now, they ended up pulling your medical card, didn't they?
Yes, they pulled my medical card for 6 months. It took me 4 months to recover, but then I had to finish up a series of doctor's appointments that were scheduled out for 6 months.
Okay.
And they wanted me to finish those up they wanted to give me that extra 2 months just to make sure everything was clear and I was good to go. I had to go see doctors that specialized in diabetes. I had to go see endocrinologists. I had to go visit with phlebotomists where they could test me. I was pricking my finger 3 times a day to make sure my blood sugar was good. I was having blood drawn every 2 weeks just to make sure everything was good, and that happened for 6 months. So
that's you had to go through. I didn't realize you had to go through all that, dude.
Yeah, it's a lot to go through, and I don't want to see anybody else go through that crap because it's stressful. It's physically, part of it is painful. I mean, when you've got that much blood drawn, your body can regenerate that blood, but just knowing that there's a needle going right back in a couple weeks, it gets to you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I brought up medical card just then, and we started this whole thing to help drivers out, especially people coming into it. I know that when it comes to going and getting your medical card, you have to, like if you have a CPAP machine, you have to show so many months or whatever compliance before they give it to you. What do you have to show anything like that if you're diabetic? Or
your A1C has to be below 10, and you have to keep it below 10 for a certain amount of time. Now the regulations have changed on driving on diabetic drivers, and what they are now, I can't tell you. But I know that when I know it has to be 10 now. When I was there, or when I went through all this stuff, it had to be below a 7. And my A1C was like 16 something. It was way up there.
Wow. Damn.
So I had to work to get that down, but I ended up with a 5.4, and right now I'm staying pretty steady between a 7 and 7.5.
Good deal.
I think it's a good thing that you get a lot of people helping you get through it, and at the time helping you get through it at the time also.
Right.
Well, the good thing is my mother, my grandmother, my aunts, they were all nurses, and so I had a lot of people, kicking me in the hind parts to make sure that I did what I was supposed to do. And for a short time, the girl I was dating at the same time. Now, girl I'm married to, she's a tough nut. Y'all know her.
And we all know you don't mess with mama. No.
No. She's a tough nut, but she's very supportive. That my support system is second to none.
I was about to say, she's supportive, but you mess up too much, she'll hurt you.
Well, even going to restaurants, and I'll still order a salad, but I might get an extra dressing or something with it sometimes, or extra whatever, and she'll look at me and she'll say, "Do you really need that?" No, I don't need it, but you know,
Make you
I
feel
want it.
make you feel like a little 4-year-old kid.
And she kind of
Not necessarily. I know that's not her intention. I mean, yeah, it does, but you know, that's not her intention. She's just making sure that I'm with her for a while.
But Mom,
Not right.
all right, but well, we're
On
gonna
my foot, but I wanna.
right. We're gonna have to cut this right now, but we're gonna keep Matt on for part 2 here in the future. We got a little work we got to go do. So Matt, we'll be giving you a call back here pretty soon.
That'll work.
We want to thank everybody for riding along with us. We're gonna get a little more information on this dietary needs out on the road in the next one.
As always, keep your shiny side up.